These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? They're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
18 in life, you got it. 18 in life, you know. Your crime is time, and it's 18 in life to go.
These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everybody. It's episode 11 of America's Barley Basket, where I, Marlin Wells, and he, Nathan Folsabach, watch and talk about Simpsons. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are you?
You know, man, I am living the dream. I am coming to you from rural North Dakota, several Miller Lights deep. Actually, it's been a mix of Bud Light and Miller Light, whatever was at the top of the floaty ice water mix in the cooler.
Yep, just reach in the cooler and pull one out.
I've got a crisp Busch Light in front of me right now. I would say this episode's going to play out like the movie Speed. We have, if we don't keep my BAC at a certain level, I'm just going to start napping. So
we can't let Nathan fall below 55 miles an hour.
If you hear some rhythmic breathing on your end, call my mom's landline. Tell her to bring me some schnapps or something. Get that boy some blackberry brandy.
Mrs. Folsabach, I need a favor. This is weird.
Well, yeah, I am right now at the optimal level of day drunk.
Well, that's good. What's the occasion? What kind of shenanigans are y'all getting up to on that side of the state?
2.5 months of the year where it's not a walking nightmare outside here. You know, where you can go outside and everything doesn't just hurt. So we're really living the dream, Marlin.
Mm-hmm.
Did some pontooning.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, I ate some picnic food.
Fucking pontoon.
Oh, I had a very good
fancy
picnic
lad.
meal. I don't fit in well at picnics. I don't like a lot of picnic stuff.
Yeah?
I don't like a potato salad, which is a hot take in the upper Midwest.
I'm with you. Fuck a potato salad, and yeah, I get stared the same daggers that I'm sure you do.
I don't like macaroni salad.
Likewise.
Okay, yeah, like basically I'm just eating a plate full of hot dogs. That's all it is, just a plate of hot dogs. I will throw down on a picnic burger, but they're never cooked right. You know, I'm a burger snob that way. Like I can cook my own burgers pretty damn. You can fucking shove a hot dog up your ass. I will still eat. It's like it doesn't matter. That hot dog was up a hot dog is an ass.
Right. Yeah.
So I am all about
that hot dog has seen worse than your lower third, okay?
Yeah.
Just via existing.
Yeah, that's like being in the womb for a hot dog. It's comforting.
The asshole is the dust to dust for hot dogs.
Yeah. Back home, sweet home. Which could have been one of our intro songs for season 3. That's also a hair metal gem. I'm on my way. Set me free.
God damn.
Oh man. Can you kind of hear a lighter on your end getting flicked? I think that's what that was. One tear hitting a keyboard.
Yeah, I'm waving my lighter around.
But, you know, it's not all about sunburns and drinking problems. We got to talk about The Simpsons, Mark.
Oh, I guess. I mean, it's a Simpsons podcast. We try.
Gloss over a few eps. And Marlon, I might need your expertise here. What number episodes are we doing from season 3?
We are on episodes 16 through 20.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we are. Simpsons are really hitting their stride. They got Drexel's Class, powerhouse sitcom as a lead-in. It's winter of 1992, and you know, Simpsons are at the top of their game. Maybe not quality-wise, but popularity-wise. They're a big show.
They're killing it. We are deep into season 3, and I'm enjoying every moment.
It's really fucking good. And episode 16 is Homer at the Bat. This one was a gem.
Yes, sir.
Quality episode. And plus, if you enjoyed 90s baseball, this is in your wheelhouse. A lot of fun.
This is right in the strike zone, if you will.
Oh, shit. Topical. That's what this is. We got baseball back in real life. I was looking to see which of these guys retired last of all these people. It's like a sad day when none of the guys from this episode are still in the majors. I think it was Clemens. Maybe.
Yeah, probably Clemens.
Clemens pitched like 25 seasons. Griffey Jr. was right there, too. But yeah.
Yeah, Strawberry would have been gone. He ended with the Yankees there in the late 90s, early aughts.
He was kind of young. I don't know if you paid attention to the tabloids, but Strawberry liked a little of the Kanye West. Get what I'm lining out for you.
Really a fan of riding the white pony.
Yeah. Like to party. Nothing wrong with that. Guy knows how to have a good time. This Puritan society that says a baseball player should have a crippling cocaine problem.
And I don't know if you keep up with the man recently, but Jose Canseco has lost his mind.
Oh, yes. He's a social media darling. And by darling, I mean crazy person.
Yeah, he's just an old man shouting out the window of the internet.
Yeah, an old man who still has a neck the size of like a grown man's thigh.
And I think recently lost one of his fingers somehow, if I'm remembering that Twitter headline right.
That sounds. It's shocking that Jose Canseco never got into pro wrestling in some form.
Yeah, he'd have fit perfectly.
Oh my God, because he was jacked, and they all love that in pro wrestling. Plus, that dude would do anything for a buck. Like, I think he's one of those guys that boxed a kangaroo on Fox in the early 2000s. I don't know who he fought, but he fought some other D-list celebrity. But God bless him, hell of a ball player in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Was almost a 40-40 man, which is pretty rare. 40 steals and 40 home runs in a season. I don't think he quite got there, but he was close.
Yeah, in his time, hell of a player.
Yeah, beautiful man too.
Oh yeah, had a real
goddamn hunk.
Had a real my brain puts him in the same folder as what's his name from Chips, Punch.
Yeah, I can see that. Punch,
what the
on
fuck's
steroids.
That actor's name? Yeah,
Eric Estrada.
Eric Estrada. There we go. Yeah. I'm a huge C-Lab fan, so I should have gotten that one.
Yeah, beautiful flowing mullet.
Yep.
There's a big part of baseball in that era. But episode 16, as you can tell, is very baseball-centric. Homer at the bat. Homer decides to sign up for the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant softball team. And thanks to the bat that he made, which we see the backstory of, was made after a tree was struck by lightning, I believe, in their backyard.
Yep, and he decided that's got to be magic, so he made it into a bat.
Yeah, Wonder Bat, he named it, which I think is a callback to the movie The Natural. I think is Wonder Boy.
Okay, sound right? I've never seen The Natural, so I don't know.
No, yeah, it's like fourth-hand information. I thought I saw a meme. You know anyone that was struck by lightning, Marlin? That's a rural thing.
I know two people who've been struck by lightning, actually.
There's a couple guys in my area, too. One of them had his belt buckle melted into his lower abdomen.
Oh, jeez.
That's a fun thing to show to people at the bar. Oh, that man's going to show us his genitals. No, just a hideous abdominal scar.
Oh, my God. Did it retain any sort of whatever image was on the belt buckle?
I think it's like superimposed like the Copenhagen logo on his lower abdomen.
One of the guys I know who was hit by lightning while on horseback.
Oh, yeah.
Horse did not make it.
Witness.
Not at all.
Oh, the horse didn't?
No, I think that horse exploded, actually.
Horse's natural weakness.
Lightning.
Oh, man.
I can't imagine what a fucking thing that must be.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure you're just knocked unconscious immediately, so you probably don't even realize anything's happened, but...
You wake up in a pile of gelatinous horse goo that's still steaming. Holy shit. The horse would do better than I did, but apparently not.
Just an 8-foot radius of burnt ground. What happened here? Oh my God. Yeah, I can't imagine coming to and being like, well, this is probably bad.
I need to go to the hospital and take a long bath. You ever a softball man in your younger day, Marlon?
No, I never played softball. I feel like on and off there were teams, like beer league teams. Not always, though. I think it kind of just depended on on the year, like, oh, we're not going to have one this year because no one's going to play. But they're honestly, softball, baseball, none of that really much of a thing down in my corner of the state. Like, nobody gives a fuck about baseball where I'm from.
When we were little kids, when I was a little kid, I loved it. And then, probably in my mid-20s, I got into playing softball. Ooh, I loved it. I always think you can tell how enjoyable a sport is, like, by how bad you can be at it and still have fun. Because, man, I sucked. Like, I'm left-handed, which cuts like the amount of positions I can play in a fourth, and I have no depth perception because I can't play the outfield, even if I was fit, which I am not.
I was about to say, is it your depth perception that keeps you from playing the outfield?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's even if my goal in life, I want to be a speedy right fielder, and I put the work in, it still wouldn't happen.
You might be a first baseman if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, or a catcher, because it doesn't matter. You're basically a glorified backstop.
Oh, yeah, in softball for sure.
Yeah, first base or catcher. And for a guy of my size, no power at all. I'm like a John Kruk. I'm like crushing analytics in softball, like all about on-base percentage. I'll happily take a walk. I always thought it feels like stealing.
I'm surprised you can read a pitch with no depth perception.
I one time tagged up from third on a pop fly and scored, and the other team was so outraged by it, they almost quit playing softball that night. It was remarkable.
God, I bet that was a majestic sight. Yeah, exactly. You charging from third to home.
Me going from a standstill to full speed, it's like watching a guy like in a Revolutionary War movie hurrying to try and load a musket. I was like, just lots of tipping over and spillage. And a lot of looking up and seeing someone coming and like a lot of panic. And I remember the guy, my teammate, like pushing his hands down to show me I should slide. I just laughed. Yeah. Like, newsflash, if I slide, the game's over. You have to call somebody.
If I slide, I'm going to go to the hospital.
Take the Tommy lift out and get him in the back so he can drive into a vet because he doesn't have health insurance. Take the fun out of a day-night doubleheader.
Anybody got to come along so we can some ratchet straps so we can get this boy tied down to this flatbed? Like an animal, someone kneeling above you, brushing your hair. Shh, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be all right.
The high school kid that takes care of the park, that's his duty. Go calm that large one that fell over. We don't need him skittish. Go
soothe that fella.
So the Springfield Nuclear softball team goes on a tear, all powered by the magical bat of Homer Simpson. They're kicking ass, taking names. But during like some kind of what I assume was like a dinner meeting, Mr. Burns and the owner of the Shelbyville plant, whose name is Aristotle Amadopoulos, get into an argument about their softball squads. And they make $1 million bet as to who will win the big power plant softball game. And Burns realizes, oh, my God, I can't do this. So he goes out and gets all these ringers, all these major league ball players, and a different kind of like there's like a montage of showing how he was able to convince each guy to do it. Like I remember Mike Sosha, he just wanted to work in a power plant. Like softball was secondary to him.
There's such a great running gag with Mike Sosha of him just like wanting to work at the power plant. Like he doesn't even want to play on the softball team. He just wants to work industrial shift work.
Mike Sosha had an amazing metamorphosis because in my childhood he was at least a handful of all-star games as a catcher for the Dodgers. And then within 6 months of retirement, went from being a major league athlete to looking like a 60-year-old city bus driver with like type 1, 2, and 3 diabetes.
Yep.
He gained 200 pounds in one offseason. He looked like a baseball manager. That's what he went on to do for many years with the Angels. So
yeah, he went from player to manager with the snap of a finger.
It's like method acting. I got to look like Tommy Lasorda by the end of the summer.
It's like De Niro in Taxi Driver putting on weight.
Just eating tubs of frosting everywhere he goes.
Put it in
Pour
my
out a
veins.
German chocolate. Oh.
Rubbing funfetti on his gums.
Another more, obscure if you don't follow baseball, but Steve Sachs was playing stand-up bass in a band, and he was able to get lured to the big money of softball. Do you remember Steve Sachs at all?
No, not at all. He was one of the ones I didn't know during this episode.
Fun fact, Steve Sachs's career almost ended because he got a crippling case of the yips.
Wow, what the hell are the yips?
The yips, bro, it's a real thing. He was just I think
can we take a moment to appreciate the lead in? Oh, the yips, bro.
It's a thing. Steve Sachs is either a second baseman or a third baseman. I can't recall. And just one day he showed up to the ballpark and he couldn't throw the ball to first base anymore. He just couldn't. Like, he'd be 5-10 feet off in either direction.
What
to the point
hell?
He just had to quit. They just had to take him out. Like, it's like, you can't play. Like, we can't put you in the field anymore. And he like totally derailed his career. And then eventually he got it back, and he ended up having a fine career. But like Chuck Knobloch, former Twin, went to the Yankees. All of a sudden he couldn't throw it to first base anymore. They just throw him in the outfield.
What the hell?
Isn't that wild? Yeah, like there's a pitcher in the early aughts. I can't think of his name. He was with the Cardinals. Young pitcher coming up, looked really good. Like started a couple playoff games, shows up to spring training, can't throw it over the plate anymore. He got out of baseball and somehow made a comeback as an outfielder, which kudos to that.
Yeah,
like,
no
just
kidding.
Like, calling an audible at age 25. He's like working at Home Depot. Like, I'm going to play professional baseball again. And somehow fucking does it. So,
Wait,
man.
So are the yips, it's not a medical condition then, is it? It's just a
man.
psychological thing? I just can't do this thing that I do.
If you Google it, it'll there's a Wikipedia page. It'll show you all the dudes that have there's guys that just quit. Like, I guess I don't play baseball anymore. Like,
oh my
trying
God.
to get my real estate license. I don't know what the next goal is. Like, how wild. I just think it's funny how it can happen overnight too.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I had no idea that was a thing.
Keep your head on this. I don't want us to get the podcast yips. I don't know what that would be. But
what are the podcasting yips?
Yeah.
Like you open the microphone and you just can't speak?
I just can't. I have no quips. I'm quipless.
That's the quips.
Yeah, I got the quips. Oh, man, don't say it, dude. Now we're going to get the quips.
Oh, we got to take a couple weeks off for the podcast.
Yeah,
Nathan got the quips.
See you guys in November.
Hopefully.
I get sent down to the minor league podcast.
Go play some AAA podcast.
Get my quips back.
I do love the entire recruiting scene with Smithers, like you said, with Sachs playing in the jazz band and Sosha's just out hunting. It's the lead up to that is great because we get good old Mr. Burns old baseball jokes where he has like that fielding chart and he's like, these are the guys I want to recruit, and Smithers has to be like, they've been dead for 120 years at this point.
Cap Anson. I remember Cap Anson was one of the names. And the best is, these people were playing way before Burns was alive.
Right.
It's like Burns immortal. Is he alive during the Civil War?
And while he's telling Smithers, like, I want you to go get the best from the American League, the National League, and the Negro League. Because Burns still thinks that's a thing in the early 90s, which is really funny.
Yeah.
My God.
And how this all ties into The Simpsons is once they hire all these ringers, the regular guys, they all get sent to the bench. Like Homer was especially heartbroken because he was actually playing well. But Darryl Strawberry played Homer's position, and he was a very good baseball player. So
Darryl Strawberry is going to replace Homer for sure.
Yeah. And they kick ass and take names, and then it's time for the big game. And then also in a fun montage, we kind of see how each of the baseball players ends up not being able to play in the big game. Like Griffey gets hooked on that old-fashioned nerve tonic.
Brain and nerve tonic that Burns hooks him up with.
Yeah, he gets elephantitis.
Gigantism.
Yeah.
Dr. Hibbert walks into the emergency room, and there's Ken Griffey Jr. with just a mammoth forehead.
Yeah. Wade Boggs gets knocked out by Barney in Moe's Tavern, which, if you know anything of the folklore around Wade Boggs, there's a 50-50 shot that did happen to him at some time in his major league career.
Was Boggs known for getting in bar fights?
There's a whole episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia based on Wade Boggs. Because he supposedly drank 64 beers on a cross-country trip from Boston to Los Angeles.
Jesus.
And a lot of his teammates say, I don't know if that's the exact number, but I would not be shocked.
Man.
And the rumor has it he went on to hit 3 for 4 the next day against the Angels. If that is remotely true, he should replace Franklin on the $100 bill.
Right.
This is an American legend in our midst.
If you could drink 64 beers and then hit 750 the next night.
Yeah, against major league pitching.
Oh, my God.
What I love, and I didn't even notice it because I was so into the episode that, like, we see as dominoes fall, all these major leagues. Roger Clemens gets hypnotized. He thinks he's a chicken, so he can no longer play.
Yep. Steve Sachs gets pulled over by the Springfield police, and they look at his license, and he's from New York, and they're like, "Well, I think someone got murdered in New York. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?" And arrest him.
Yeah. And I didn't even notice, as they all can't play, you get excited for Homer. You realize the one major leaguer that can play, Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah, who also is like a kiss ass to Manager Burns like the whole episode.
Yeah. Like he's like talking shit about I just don't see enough hustle, Mr. Burns.
Yep, he always calls him Skip.
Yeah.
And Burns, by the way, the whole time managing in this early teens baseball uniform with the fucking genie pants.
It's like wearing high pantaloons. It's like mid rib is where the waistband is.
Yeah, they only go down to the knee, and then the socks come up to meet them. Oh, it's a good look.
Got the garters on to keep the socks up. But then, of course, Homer comes into play because it wouldn't be an episode of The Simpsons without featuring one of The Simpsons. Because I'm trying to think why. Oh, Mr. Burns, in a classic case of overcoaching, decides to pull Darryl fucking Strawberry.
Yep. Because
it's a lefty on lefty matchup, and he thinks the numbers say that they need a right-handed bat. And that's when Homer gets called up off the bench.
And Strawberry's baffled. He's like, I've hit 9 home runs today. What are you talking about?
Because the score was like a football score. It was 42 all or something like that.
Yeah.
And I believe the bases are loaded.
Yep.
And it was kind of anticlimactic. I thought that Homer just gets beamed in the head immediately.
I thought it was kind of perfect. Homer goes up there and takes a bead ball directly to the forehead, which ought to have killed a man.
Because he's staring at Burns, because Burns is giving him this complex combination of signals.
Yep.
Tap his chin, tap his knee, tap chin, tap knee, tap shoulder. And Homer, we all know, a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Yeah, but hey, he leaned that big old idiot head of his and won them the game.
Yep, takes one to the dome, which advances the runner, and they win.
And one thing about what we're getting into now, every episode ends well. There's a fun little thing at this one with that talking softball song.
Yeah,
it's like a play on the old talking baseball song. We're talking baseball.
Yep, and it's all sepia tone with film grain. It's all right, guys, clearly having fun.
Clemens is a chicken. And it basically tells you everything that happened in that episode.
Yep. Ozzy and the straw, that shit was so good. Ozzie Smith, who went into some mystery museum and fell through the floor and was never seen again.
He's trapped in some negative world, but he's still enjoying it because there's chances to take pictures.
Yep. I like that Mike Scioscia ends up being unable to play because he worked too hard at the power plant and got radiation poisoning.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith's a fascinating cat too. He's one of those people that's kind of lost to the sands of time, unless you're a baseball fan or you grew up in the St. Louis area, and he is everyone's hero. Because he played for 20 years and was a great human being the entire time, plus an awesome baseball player. But it's never hear anyone mention that guy. Because he was all glove, no bat. But I mean, probably the best defensive shortstop of our lifetime.
It's funny, like, at the time that I would have watched this, I think the only player I'd have known would probably have been Ken Griffey Jr. Because, like, when I was a kid, Ken Griffey Jr. was the baseball player.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, he was the one with Ken Griffey Baseball on the Sega Genesis, and he was on Sports Illustrated for Kids, and he was the guy.
I think we might have to talk about this after the show, Marlin. We might have beef. I was a Super Nintendo man, ride or die. I never knew I was doing a podcast with a Genesis man.
Well, to be fair, I didn't own either of them, but I had, a friend with one and a different friend with the other, so you would get exposed to it at their houses. So
I think that's what helped kind of calm down the SNES Genesis gang wars of the early mid-90s. Was finally like households integrating with both systems.
Yep.
Sending troubled teens to stay at a Super Nintendo household and vice versa.
I had no brand loyalty because I was still playing the NES all the way through. Like I owned an NES and I owned a PlayStation 2, and I didn't own anything in between.
See, we were that way, but with Atari. Nice. We had an Atari and like trying to explain to my friends, like, dude, the game doesn't end. There's no storyline. It just goes faster and faster, man. Like, what are we playing for? Let's just go to bed. You're not going to rescue anybody. There's no rescue.
You don't win.
This isn't Super Mario. This is Mario Brothers. They're just dudes.
Yep. Just dudes knocking turtles over.
Yeah, all day, man.
Yeah, and those weird crabs. That's all That's all Mario Brothers is.
Yeah. Yeah, the crabs never made it into the other games. That was just an Atari original.
Yeah, they didn't make the jump when Super Mario Brothers happened. But you could play Mario Brothers in Super Mario Brothers 3. It's in there.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely, yeah.
So that was my exposure to that game. I was like, what's this dumb weird game that they hid in here? Why are there these pipes? And then learned later in life, that was a neat thing. But I was just like, this is dumb. Why would you play this?
Cave people played.
Yeah. There's no raccoon suit here at all.
Old. So, yeah, that was Homer at the Bat. Very good episode. Great way to start off this chunk of... I mean, we're at a point now, man. I'm going to be shocked the next time we get a dud, because we haven't really had a true dud in a while.
They're all good, which I'm appreciating. Next one, episode 17, is called Separate Vocations. Right off the bat, this is the first one I have noticed enough to write down. The chalkboard gag in this one that Bart is writing. He is writing the sentence, "I will not barf unless I'm sick."
Yeah.
Which I really laughed at. Yeah. Really openly got a laugh out of me. I was like, that's okay. That's good. This episode, the school is taking a vocational test where you take a test that's like, it seems sort of intelligence based and sort of personality based, and they spit out the results, and it tells you what career you should be filed into. You know, the thing to have 8 and 10-year-olds take.
Yeah, exactly, because you're basically who you are at the age of 8. Am I right?
Yeah, I feel like you should pigeonhole a child before they can spell pigeonhole.
Because exactly. Because just like when I was 8, you know what I'm doing for a living right now? I'm a ninja, just like I was when I was 8. We're into the ninja arts.
So we follow both Bart and Lisa taking it, and there is a funny quick montage of the results getting shuffled off to Iowa, because that's where Iowa standardized test comes from. Yeah. So they're like throwing them in the truck and driving through cornfields, and then it ends up at a giant robot that they feed the things into, and occasionally the old man in the rocking chair next to it has to hit it with a broom to get it to work again.
It's like a woman's name for it,
he's like, "Come on, Emma," and hits it with the broom.
I had completely forgotten that those were based in Iowa.
Oh yeah, Iowa standardized tests. That's where that all comes from, as far as I know, or at least it did at the time.
During the test, there's a great question that's I prefer the smell of A, gasoline, B, French fries, or C, bank customers. A good insight to what you want to spend your life doing.
Yeah.
And recently, you and I both discussed our fondness for the smell of gasoline.
Yep.
Maybe it was just me. Yeah,
no,
I love it.
You were gasoline specific. I like all of the general mechanic smells.
Yeah, exactly. I want spilled fluids that come from a machine, not a human.
Okay,
that's why
I'm glad you
not in the medical
specified.
field or in a child care.
There's something about that mechanic smell. Like it's a combination of oil and gas and some sort of hydraulic fluid maybe is a good one. And then just like generalized like heat. Like it's a hot smell.
Kind of dusty too.
Yeah.
A lot of garage doors open, a lot of dust blowing and mixing with those fluids.
Rubber, there's probably a good strong rubber smell, especially if there's any manner of tire changing being done.
Maybe a slight like citrus hint of Gojo hand soap.
The real gritty stuff with the pumice.
Yeah, which is always good when you're 6 years old, just wearing off that thin outer layer of skin.
Really scrub it off, yeah.
One thing that was a nice touch too is there's like a scene where everyone's seeing what their results for like what their career path will be, and Ralphie Wiggum's was salmon gutter.
Yep.
And I just love that, like, not a fish gutter, like a specific breed of fish. How precise these tests. He doesn't have the hands to gut a yellowtail.
And he's
more of a freshwater.
And not a full-on fishmonger, like not like just, gutting and cleaning and selling, but like just the gutting part.
Yeah, he's not fit to face humanity. He has to be in the back.
Ralphie gets just that one skill. And we see Martin, who's like crossing his fingers and hoping for, I think it's statistics analysis or something like that, stat analyst. And he's like wishing and hoping for that. And that turns out to be what it is, because of course it is. It's Martin. Yeah.
The Martins of the world are who are in charge now.
Oh, for sure.
They're running the show.
And still plenty of Mr. Burnses, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Martin, a middle-aged Martin, aspires to be a Mr. Burns.
Oh, yeah, and will probably become one.
Yep. Things are tilted in their favor, the Martins of the world.
For sure. The rest of us are just Barts.
Yeah, the Homers of the world do not exist anymore. We're all just Barts now.
Yep.
We're all grown-up Barts.
Or Autos.
Yeah.
I think you and I are probably closer to Otto than we are Bart.
One thing I like when Bart finds out he's supposed to be a policeman, and that's getting discussed in the house, and it comes up that Homer tried out to be a policeman. Either Patty or Selmer is like, they said he was too fat, and Homer's response is, no. The army said I was too fat. The police said I was too dumb. That was a nice gag.
Yeah, I love that he defended himself by burning himself.
Yeah, correcting her. Listen.
Yeah, Bart is apparently supposed to be a policeman, and Lisa is supposed to be a homemaker, which she does not take well, nor should she.
No.
Because she's got her heart set on being a professional blues musician or jazz musician, professional saxophonist, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And so she goes down to the music store and like goes to the guy working there and is like, do you think I could make it? And belts out a jazz tune for him. And he's like, oh, no, absolutely not, because you have stubby fingers.
Yeah. Like it's a medical condition.
Yeah. And hereditary. Points out that it comes from the father's side.
Yeah.
Which they then immediately illustrate by cutting away to Homer not being able to hang on to his beer and he drops it.
Yeah.
I love when he goes to tell Lisa that he's like, I'm going to speak frankly, by which I mean devastatingly. Just doesn't pull a single punch with this little girl.
like an interesting twist, which I thought fun, is Bart is now on the side of justice.
Yeah.
And Lisa goes off the rails in a way Bart even hasn't went off the rails. Like,
yeah, Lisa ends up going down a juvenile delinquent path while Bart goes on a ride along with these police officers, and they run down a guy who robs the Quickie Mart, which is Snake, the classic Simpsons criminal. He robs the Quickie Mart and takes the cops on a chase, and then one of the cops hands Bart a revolver and asks him to cover him. It's a 10-year-old child wearing shorts. Here you go, cover us. And Bart, in his defense, pops a few off at the car. Does not hit Snake, but Snake ends up crashing that car and gets taken to jail. And Bart, he's got a taste for this authority now.
I think 15 years ago or so, I was living back here, I was going to school, and over the scanner, I had a job where there's a scanner playing all the time. That's a small town thing. Got to know what everyone's up to.
Mm-hmm.
They somehow, two of the people in our county jail somehow conned the guy working dispatch into bringing him like a sandwich or something. They club him over the head, lock him in the jail, and take off running through town, middle of winter.
Oh my
So they got
God.
fugitives on the loose, and everyone's losing their mind on the scanner. It made for compelling radio.
I'll bet. Holy shit.
At one point, there were teenagers on snowmobiles with cops on the back with shotguns hunting this guy down. Talk about a recipe for a lawsuit.
That's a posse at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a classic posse maneuver. Like, that's not law enforcement anymore.
Is your son home? We need to track fugitives. Well, Chip's done with his homework, I guess.
Does anybody down at the bar have an Articat that one of us can get on the back of? We got to go on a manhunt.
And they didn't catch him. I think they caught him in another town. No, they escaped to do petty crime another day.
But Lisa is massively depressed. She loses kind of all interest in school and music and drops out of the band and everything. She's not taking this she's meant to be a homemaker thing well at all. So Bart ends up taking a position as a hall monitor and becoming a full-on snitch narc. He's like going through the hallway with his hall monitor sash and his aviator sunglasses, just like hauling kids away. There's one point Milhouse shoots a spitball at one of the
bullies.
The bullies, the classic delinquent teenage bullies, and Bart goes over there and gets poor Milhouse in a hammerlock and leads him out of the cafeteria, and Milhouse is screaming, "Yes, we have authority, but at what cost?"
That was a nice
Milhouse,
touch.
the voice of the proletariat, which I really liked. And
One
this
thing
all
I
being done with the blessings of Principal Skinner, of course.
Yeah.
He's a big fan.
On the subject of Principal Skinner, when he's discussing the class mascot, that statue they have, and he keeps saying the word Puma, but he says it Puma.
Yep, and it drives
Puma.
me crazy every time.
And I don't like how I feel when he says Puma. Just like earlier in this episode, there's a part where Homer really, really goes to town on a cake. Like, very sensual.
Yep.
It's like, boy, yeah. Now we see why Marge is always so interested in snuggling. He's a generous lover, it appears.
Apparently. Goddamn. Yeah, the photos Bart has of him demolishing that cake are sensual at best.
Troubling as well.
Yeah, with Skinner's like dusting and petting that stuffed puma that's in his office, and he's talking to it real softly, and he refers to it as the puma, the principle of the wild.
Yeah.
He's dying.
I like too when as Bart gets more power in the school and Mr. Skinner lets him see the kind of the lockup of all the confiscated contraband, and he's like giving him a rundown of what's in there. That's one of my favorite lines. We have issues of mad, cracked, and even crazy. And you ready for a hot take, Marlon?
Always hit me.
I was always more of a cracked man than a mad man.
I assume that that's a hot take because I've never heard of Cracked. So
yeah,
was never
in the mid-'90s. It must have petered out. Yeah,
never a magazine reader. Really,
I enjoyed Mad Magazine, but Cracked, I don't know what it was. Root for the underdog sometimes.
Yeah, everyone likes the Rocky story, right?
Yeah, Mad was the U.S. Steel of satirical animated magazines. I wanted the scruffy up-and-comer.
Man, what a wildly specific sentence that was.
That's our promise to our listeners.
Lisa is doing shit like carving a skull and crossbones in her desk, and she starts hanging out in, quote, the bad girl's bathroom. So, like, we only had, I think we only had one bathroom in the school, so I don't know. Apparently there were turf wars in Springfield. But there's a couple of youths in there smoking and being delinquents, and they're the ones who end up, I think, toilet papering and egging Principal Skinner's precious Puma.
By the time I was in late high school, I already had like the lower GI tract of a middle-aged man. So I knew where a guy could take a relaxing shit. As the shop class. The shop class bathroom was. You could really sit. It was nice and cool, and had brick walls. That was some top shelf shit in there.
You're not looking to dump in a crowded party bathroom.
Well, look, you can only imagine the look on a substitute teacher's face and study hall when you tell me you got to leave for 15 minutes to go take your shit in the shop class. I'm gonna go shit with the junior high kids like some kind of goddamn animal. I don't think so. Go shit like a grown man. And go buy a paper.
Roll up my sleeves and get down to business. Yeah. Oh, God.
One thing that was a nice touch, we got a real glimpse into the school in this one, and there was that new teacher named Mr. Glasscock, who was paranoid about getting teased about his name.
Yep, he'd intended to completely quit the profession because Glasscock was not going to be a good name for not getting teased by children.
I know I'm forgetting something, but the only even vaguely ridiculous name that I can remember from my childhood was and this was not like a close part of the community. I'm pretty sure the dude that supplied the concession stand goodies at our local skating rink, I think his name was Harry Dick. Pretty sure he's Harry.
I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, but he could have went by Harold, but he was a little frisky, I'm guessing. He liked it. He liked being the center of attention.
Yeah, that's like when you meet a guy who goes by Dick instead of Richard. You're like, you like to party.
Yeah, oh man, a good dick. Who doesn't love a good dick or dickie?
Oh, everybody loves a good dick, yeah.
Yeah, they're a guy that'll help you. They're the guy you can call at 3 a.m. if you get a DUI. Hey,
Dickie.
I've been there. I'm Dickie. Hey.
Oh, God. So there's a moment when one of the bad girls that hangs out in the bad girl bathroom gives Lisa a cigarette, and I don't know if you caught it, but
I haven't noted.
The cigarette brand is Laramie Junior's.
Yeah, so awesome.
Which is the child's cigarette. Oh, shit.
Another thing, we see a random teacher in this episode, like a male hippie teacher.
Yeah.
He's sitting on his desk. I was like, that's a new guy. I hope we get more of the male hippie teacher.
Yep, I'm fine with the hippie teacher. I hope he sticks around. Lisa goes on a tear, and the prank she's going to pull is she steals all of the teaching editions, which I love what they do here is that this makes all the teachers panicked and powerless because the teachers don't know shit without their teaching edition textbooks.
Yeah.
So that's when you see no one is having class. You just have the hippie teacher sitting on the desk being like, well, let me, I guess, tell you about the 60s. And everyone having just different manners of non-class while Barton and Skinner look for them, which they eventually find. Bart finds them in Lisa's locker and confronts Lisa about it, and she's like cracking and doesn't want to get expelled. Bart ends up taking the fall for his sister because A, that thing would be way more expected out of him, that type of behavior.
Yeah.
And B, he knows that he's kind of built up a little leniency with Skinner here. It won't be that bad of a punishment. Not nearly as bad as it would be for Lisa. And when Skinner finds the books, he's at first praising Bart, and he says, "Oh, thank God, you've saved this school $120.
That was a nice touch, yeah.
But then gives Bart, I believe it's 500 days of detention, which is like damn near 2 years. And then everything is back to normal, and Bart is back to being a delinquent, and Lisa, I think, sees that path is not for her.
Yep. Back to being a good kid.
God love her. She had to go through a phase.
Yeah, as a lot of kids do.
Yeah.
They got to dip their toes into juvenile delinquency to realize the waters are awfully chilly.
Yeah, my favorite part of this whole episode, though, was Bart with that revolver just wildly firing at Snake as his car was coming at him. Oh, shit.
Episode 18, Dog of Death. Which this episode, I've noticed a theme too now is the episodes, the satire comes fast and furious at the beginning. It's like a fake commercial or a fake TV show oftentimes. Like, it was like a fake commercial for the lottery and just kind of showing what a sham it is. Like, and of course, Homer is just hook, line, and sinker. He's all about the lottery.
Yeah, along with everyone, the town is super into the lottery.
You ever been a lotto man? Like a scratch 'em off?
I'll buy a couple bucks worth of scratchers every so often, just if the mood hits me and there's no one waiting behind me in line at the gas station.
I've never bought a scratcher. I've bought a couple Powerballs, like at work. I throw a buck in, well, we're going to get some Powerballs.
Yeah, I've done that too. Throw in, go as a group kind of thing, but never. Yeah. It's never bitten me the way it bites so many people. Like the amount of times I've been in a Moorhead, Minnesota gas station just like running late for work as somebody in front of me has to be like, I want 2 of these and 1 of those and 1 of those and 2 of those, and then I'm going to pay with change. Like, I'm bitter towards the lottery.
Yeah. You guys take Dutch currency?
I got all these wooden nickels. It's like, oh, lady, come on.
Cruise of Copenhagen this fall. Get all these kroner or whatever they're wooden coins with holes in them.
It's just like, fucking hell, get out of the way.
Just die.
Why won't they open another register at the very least?
Go out in the woods and die. It's been too long.
And you're not going to win. Like, it's
breathing all our air.
It's a scratch off. The best you're going to get is a free ticket, which is just going to keep you here longer.
Yeah, just a playback. No one wants a playback.
Yeah, never been one for scratch offs. Pull tabs I'll play all day because I don't know why that's different, but
yeah. True. Oh, yeah. I know what's different, Marlin. You don't have 17 tap beers in you when you're in line to pay for your gas.
Well, maybe that's the secret. I got to get drunk before I go to the gas station now.
There we go. That's problem solving.
I am 35 years old and have never opened a winning pull tab. Not even $1.
Oh, no doubt.
Never. And I'm pull tab poison. If I chip into the pot, no one wins.
And to our friends that live in non-corrupt states that don't have gambling everywhere you go, pull tabs are basically like a little piece of paper that's usually anywhere from $1 to $2. And there's like, you rip them apart and there's numbers on the inside or symbols. And if you have a winning symbol, it translates to anywhere from like $2 to $500.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's like you open and you see if you have 3 matching ones or, it's some kind of visual indicator.
A common scene in many North Dakota bars is 2 elderly women chain smoking at 3 p.m. with a room temp tap beer between the two of them and a mountain of spent pull tabs.
Yeah.
They can barely see over the top of it.
Or just walking into any bar and they're just covering the floor.
Yeah.
It's just a solid
ankle deep in pull tabs.
Ankle deep in just paper. Pull tabs are fun, but it never works.
Yeah, it can make a bad night even worse. The next day, it's like, oh, it's $700.
I feel like it always happens at exactly the same point of night too. It's like between 9 and 10 when you're at about a 6 out of 10 on the drunk scale. You're like, oh, let's play a couple pull tabs. Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody want to throw in 20 on the pull tabs?
The pull tab voice is always just slightly louder than the, hey, you could still drive home right now if you wanted to. Like, nope.
You could go home or you could play pull tabs. That's always the fork in the road.
And drink to the point you're going to need assistance getting home.
Yep. Yeah. If you buy a one pull tab, you'll need a Lyft or an Uber by night's end. That's always the turning point. You're either going to lose a bunch of money. You're going to lose money and get sad and need to drink more, or you're going to win money and be happy and drink more. Yep. So there's no in between. No, it's a win-win or a lose-lose, depending on what your goal for the night is.
That's true, yeah. So Homer has wasted a bunch of money on lotto tickets because he's a dum-dum. And Murphy's Law, of course, when all the fun money has been spent, that's when Santa's little helper gets sick.
Yep, that's when something's going to go wrong.
And just how he's usually always like a background character in these episodes, he is in this too, but he's like obviously ill and no one notices. And finally he collapses and Grandpa assumes he has passed away because Grandpa's at the house for some reason. And then they realize, no, Grandpa's a little morbid for our taste. He's just a sick dog. They bring him to the vet. I think it's at $700 to get him fixed for the surgery.
Yep.
$700 or $750. And they take the dog home, and Homer has to break it to the kids that, we're not going to spend that kind of money to get a dog better.
And I think he's trying to be subtle in his mind anyway. Cause he's like, what a time. Let me tell you about what doggy heaven is like. And he's explaining it to Bart. And Bart's kind of like going with it, just like, oh, well, what about this kind of dog? Or what about this? Yeah. So I think Homer thinks he's winning until Bart's like, wait a minute.
In today's day and age, that's just unconscionable. Like, dogs are part of the family in so many households, which, that's awesome. Spend your money how you want it. But I don't know about you, Marlin, but I grew up in a household that there'd be a lot of debate if a sick dog's worth spending $50 on.
Yeah, I don't know that, man, like maybe one of our really good cattle dogs, if it wasn't too old, they might spend surgery money on. I'm saying 9 out of 10. That dog's going to go home and get led down to the creek.
Yeah. It's a different time, Marlon. We grew up in different times.
And under different circumstances, it's not...
There were families back then that treated animals well.
Yes.
Not that we didn't treat them well. We're not going to get calf implants so our dog doesn't feel self-conscious at the dog park.
Right. There's a sense of practicality when it comes to animals where we come from. So
there's plenty of dogs.
Yeah, you can get another dog.
Why fix an old one? There's a bunch of new ones everywhere. I know 10 farms willing to give you a dog tonight.
Yep. I love that before the trip to the vet, they show the lotto numbers, and Kent Brockman is the fucking winner of the lottery. The guy on the news wins the lottery.
Another touch too is like the lottery isn't just for gambling; it also gives money to the schools, the local schools, and Principal Skinner's rattling off the things that they could do with that lottery money. And one of them, he goes, "Just think. We could have history books that tell us how the Korean War actually turned out." Just like the idea that the Korean War is like a cliffhanger.
Yep, in their history books. Yep.
Yeah.
Any of our history books, I don't think we ever mentioned the Korean War. So
we had a very salty old Korean War vet as a substitute teacher in our high school, and it was an ongoing gag amongst my friends that we would dare each other, like, "Hey, raise your hand and tell them that, hey, I heard that the Korean War doesn't even count as a real war. What do you say about that?"
Oh, God.
And watch in terror as he attempts to rip your top of your jaw off.
Excuse me, don't you mean the Korean conflict? Why oughta...
Why don't we spend more time in the wars we actually won?
Man, I think every U.S. history class or world history class I took in high school very much ended with the end of World War II.
Yeah,
and then,
that's pretty much it.
Then you come out here to college and you're like, civil rights movement? What is this?
What's going on?
Just like, oh, God, I have so much catching up to do.
Yeah.
Vietnam?
People that don't look like me.
The rural public schooling does not prepare you for the real world.
Yeah. And in this episode, the kids, they sure love Santa's Little Helper. So even Marge is kind of on board with that. Maybe we just get a new dog. But she and Homer eventually relent, and they do get the dog taken care of. And it financially ruins them for a time. Like they have to cut all the things they enjoy in life. Like Homer can no longer drink beer, so there's a great scene where he's singing some old stage classic for quarters.
Yeah,
and like treating him like a dog, like throwing the quarters out in the street. Go get it. And they call him an old rummy.
Yep.
Buffalo girl, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight.
Oh, God.
I think Marge quits getting her hair done, so eventually her hair starts falling apart. Like, it loses its structural integrity.
They've all had to give up things to pay for the dog surgery, but then they just end up resenting the dog. Like, Marge gives up playing the lottery and then finds out the next night that, the number she always bets is the lottery number, and she'd have won if it weren't for that dog.
Right. It's not the hair. Yep.
Yeah, Bart's the one who goes to barber college for his haircut.
And the guy cutting his hair, it's the same voice that shows up for any like weak-willed teenage employee. It's like whatever, Mr. So-and-so, what happened to him? His cracking voice as he's destroyed Bart's hair.
I did it again. Yeah, all of the classic Bart spikes, other than like 3, are all gone.
Yeah. There's another nice thing too, where like I think Maggie's thing is they can't buy new clothes for Maggie, so she's like bursting out of her onesies.
She just keeps Incredible Hulk busting out of her onesie every so often.
Eventually, Marge just sews her into a Crown Royal whiskey bag, which that was a nice touch.
I really appreciated seeing poor Maggie in a Crown Royal bag.
Yeah. So the Simpsons are all kind of salty. Like all their enjoyment for life is gone just to make Santa's Little Helper, not die. And Santa's Little Helper has been proven not the best dog, kind of a shithead. Mm-hmm. So they're like, fuck you, dog. They're all kind of in their own head, and they're all bummed out. So no one has time to play with little Santa's Little Helper. So someone leaves the gate open, and they all pass the buck, and no one closes the gate. And that's when Santa's Little Helper escapes. He's just out on the streets. Eventually gets dog. It actually goes like across the country. It shows like on a map everywhere he goes.
Yeah, and like he fights a bear and saves a baby from a cabin fire. Like he goes on this grand adventure.
And I love how the Springfield dog pound goes on like a multi-state trip to bring him back.
Yep.
Holy shit, what was a great gag too. And then it cuts to Smithers and Burns, and their attack dogs are getting put on Flanders, because Flanders is on some kind of neighborhood money raising thing. And there's that one fat old dog that's just like a whispery bark.
Yeah, still trying his hardest, still like bringing up the rear and wheezing.
So Burns decides they need to get a new attack dog. They need to get some new blood in there, and goes through the vet at the dog pound, sees all the dogs, and Santa's Little Helper catches his eye. He describes one of the ways he describes him as wiry, fast, firm, proud buttocks. It's like, man, I want to get to a point where I can be described as having firm, proud buttocks, Marlin. That's a goal of mine.
Yep.
Mine, they're obviously not firm. Anyone that's seen it can tell these are not firm. They have like a quiet dignity to them, I would say.
They're not prideful.
They'd be like a quiet confidence. I mean, Unless I get like into the dried apricots, then they're certainly not quiet anymore. Get a little loud and proud, if you know what I'm saying.
You're
running at the mouth a little bit.
I love that you think of your buttocks as like quiet and dignified.
I think
like,
for a man
like
that eats as much trash food as I do, my flatulence should be far worse. Like I should just always have a fart escaping me. It just rises and lowers depending on like the barometric pressure. But
I just love that you describe your own ass the way people describe Glenn Close.
Overlooked, possibly underrated, an American classic.
But never going to cause any trouble, just does her work.
Never the star of the show, but is never the reason a show doesn't work.
Quiet dignity.
Don't erase that visual. Keep it in your head. That really make my day.
I intend to.
Yeah, like sugar plums dancing in a pair of Husky Gent Harbor Bay jeans.
I love that all the words Burns uses to describe the dog, he then is like me.
Yeah. I have a guess that Mr. Burns' buttocks look like two like raw chicken cutlets hanging from a clothesline. It's very, very sad, very depressing. But
well, we saw his ass in that episode where Marge paints him.
Yeah, you're right.
It's buttocks shaped, but it's.
Yeah. I mean, there's a butt there, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like you ran a butt through the dryer too hot, and it shrunk like a sweater.
I have a question for you, Marlin. There's a joke. It's a blink and you miss it. I just don't get the context. It's when they're hanging up missing posters for Santa's Little Helper. Mm-hmm. And it's like a close-up of like a telephone pole or a light pole. And you quick see a poster of Principal Skinner's face.
Yeah.
And it says, "Have you seen my body today?" And they quickly covered up with a Santa's Little. What does that mean? What are they referencing there?
I have no idea. I just saw I saw the flash of Skinner's face, but didn't catch any text. And I just went past it. I was like, okay, I should have stopped. I didn't know that that's what it said. But now knowing what it said, I still don't think I get it. But
yeah. I do love when they're hanging up posters and they're going door to door. They go to Ken Brockman's house, and the way he answers the door, just obviously spray tanned with like a Speedo and just bejeweled dozens of rings and necklaces.
Mr. T style chains.
Yeah. Old Kenny Brockman looking tan, rested, and ready.
And then I like that Homer hangs a bunch on this one building, and then the building is immediately destroyed, like controlled demolition.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. And then the episode kind of reaches its climax when they go to the Burns residence for their missing dog. Burns is getting some kind of like life rejuvenation therapy. Almost looks like an iron lung.
Yeah.
Because Smithers is like, there's two cute children at the door. What should we do? It's like, release the hounds from inside that tomb.
Because he's reprogrammed Santa's Little Helper to be a guard dog now, and I love the Clockwork Orange reference that they make, where he just pries open Santa's Little Helper's eyes, and Smithers is there doing the Malcolm McDowell eye drops, and shows him this video of just like people being mean to dogs. That's the whole video.
And so then Santa's Little Helper breaks away from the pack once the dogs are released, and he finds Bart right away, and he looks like he is in for the kill. Teeth are exposed, a lot of growling, and Bart is like, hey, buddy, it's me, it's Bart, and like trying to convince him not to rip him to shreds. And then just as he leaps forward, all those memories of him and Bart horsing around doing child and dog antics all come rushing back, and he starts licking Bart because he loves Bart, and he scares off all the mean dogs, and everything ends happily.
Yeah, Bart gets his dog back, and everything's fine again.
And as we've talked about those awesome end of the episode gags, we get a quick announcement that no dogs were hurt in the filming of this episode. And then the next quote is, a cat got sick and somebody shot a duck, but that was it. I thought that was a nice touch.
Brings us on to the next one, episode 19 of season 3, which is Colonel Homer. This one starts off with the family headed to a movie theater. I don't know if you paused on the marquee of the movies that are playing, but my favorites were Ernest versus the Pope. Second week that we get an Ernest reference on America's Barley Basket. And my absolute favorite, which is the smell in room 19.
I'm going to show you a screenshot of my notes. It's exactly that. Here's what I wrote. Love the movie options they have to decide from. Ernest versus the Pope and the smell in room 19 were my favorites. and then the next sentence, what do you think that smell is, Marlin?
Yep. What genre of film is that? I think it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
I think
it's either that or it's like a campy R-rated comedy.
Yeah, that could be too. I think it's dead body is what the room is, or what the smell is. But yeah, the idea of the smell in room 19 being a movie title. Real good.
There's a nice sight gag, too, where Homer's just being a complete bore in the movie theater, as you expect him to be, and he's trying to get the last of the ice out of his soda glass.
Yep.
And, of course, it all slides at once. It hits him in the face, which I've been there before.
That's always the way. You're like, I just want one cube. Give me one cube just to suck and chew on. Just one.
Crushed ice will not leave a glass willingly.
Yep.
They all lock arms.
It has molded to the shape of the glass, and it's all hitting your face at once.
Yeah.
Yep. I also felt Homer's pain during that. But also, absolute dickhead in the theater. Just, he's like talking the whole time. He's doing who's that guy? Like doing that shit. Oh, I hate that shit so much.
One of my least favorite things.
Yeah. Eventually he's like, oh yeah, I read how this ends, and says how it ends, and finally people have had enough, and they throw shit at him, and Marge lets him have it in the movie theater. Just, people don't want to hear what you have to say, like, unloads both barrels on poor dumb Homer there in the movie theater. But fuck that, Homer had it coming. And then,
oh my God, yeah.
And then they get home, and Homer, of course, being Homer, he's got to go sulk for a while, so he drives away. And drives out to Spittle County, which is apparently their redneck part of Springfield.
Yeah.
And goes to a bar called the Beer and Brawl, which is a redneck bar. And as soon as he walks through the door, one of the patrons grabs the other by the shoulder and says, "Let's fight." And the other one says, "Them's fighting words." And then they fight, which I thought was pretty great.
I like when they... after many weeks of not being able to make it, they finally get Yodel and Zeke on the stage, and someone promptly breaks a chair over his head.
Yep, E-media. This is a rough space. This is a tough room, we would call it. There's it reminds me, other than the chicken wire, it reminds me of the bar from the Blues Brothers.
Absolutely.
The cowboy bar. So Homer's in there just having a beer, and up on stage.
Where they drink FUD.
They drink FUD.
Don't drink Duff.
Yep, they don't got Duff.
FUD.
They drink FUD. F-U-D-D, not D-U-F-F. So Homer's enjoying a FUD, and the waitress, the singing waitress, takes the stage. She's named Lurleen, who, by the way, is played by Beverly D'Angelo, who is Mrs. Griswold from the Vacation movies.
And also, I believe, maybe married to Al Pacino in real life.
Oh, really? That I didn't know.
Yeah.
You got your hot Us Weekly celebrity couples.
Yeah, watching my Hollywood Tonight DVD collection.
What's happening on E.T. tonight? What's Mario Lopez going to tell me?
Extra. Then I get the real news from Inside Edition.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, how could you not? You got to stay on top of what Pete Davidson is up to.
Yeah.
But Lurleen gets up there. I have trouble saying it. It's a bad name. Lurleen.
Yeah.
But she goes up there and sings the kind of a sad country song, and Homer loves it. No one else in the bar does, apparently. But Homer is enamored with Lurleen and her music and her singing talent. He goes and records her song in a thing that I had forgotten existed, that I've never seen in person, but I did know exist. Much like a photo booth, a recording booth that lets you record onto a CD for like $1.
Yep.
I've never seen one in the wild, but I did know that existed at one time.
I think it might have been a mall kiosk thing at one point.
Yeah,
it
seems like a mall thing.
Soundproof booth, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the ideal way to record anything, exactly. For sure.
At 1 p.m. in a mall full of screaming people. That'll get you in the right headspace.
Yeah. But so she records this demo, and one of the guys who is around passes it on to his cousin who works at an AM radio station, and everyone kind of loves the song. It becomes a pretty big hit. Marge gets more and more, as we go through this episode, more and more jealous and suspicious of all the time that Homer and Lurleen are spending together.
There's a great montage of like people hearing that song on the radio, and it really moves them.
Yep.
And there's one where Krusty is slapping Sideshow Mel senseless, and he's hollering, "I thought I told you to stay away from my sister." And then that song comes on. Legit the hardest I've laughed to date at a Simpsons episode. I was fucking cackling. Just what a scene to cut to. Sideshow Mel is screwing Krusty the Clown's sister.
And then that song comes on, and he like puts him down and gives him $50 and like tells her to take her out for a date.
Yeah.
There's another great Sideshow Mel joke later in
next
this
episode
match that I can't wait. But yeah, everyone loves the song. They show like Snake in the prison beating a guard, and then it comes on, and he just like helps him up, and they hug. Like, really good shit. But Marge is very suspicious of all this time that they're spending together. Homer becomes Lurleen's manager. She buys him a full-on white cowboy suit, Boss Hogg style, with the hat and motherfucking bolo tie.
Yeah. And did you see where they bought it at?
Oh, I did not.
Oh, the store was called The Corpulent Cowboy.
Okay.
So just for overweight, cowboy attire for overweight men.
What a specific store.
If that existed, it's the only place I'd shop.
Yeah.
I'd fucking buy my groceries at the Corpulent Cowboy. This is all I need in life.
Just a big and tall cowboy store.
Yeah.
I love that Homer really takes to this cowboy suit, by the way, with like these gaudy fucking boots with all the designs and the frill on the jacket. Oh, man.
You could tell they were totally going for like an old-timey, like nudie suit style, which was all the rage in country music like in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
so
and
bedazzled.
Yeah, really knocked it out of the park. I believe the guy at the store is like, "Oh, this is a space-age fabric made for Elvis. Sweat actually cleans the suit," which is like we kind of went out of our way to take a shot at poor Elvis Aaron Presley for no reason.
Yeah. No shit, yeah.
All right, let's crowbar in a joke to shit on the king a little. So he's Lurleen's manager, and he's getting her all this work around town, and she invites him over to the trailer, her trailer, to hear a new song that she'd been working on, which is the least subtle, "Hey, Homer, you should stay here and let's bang in this trailer," is what it may as well be called. But it's funny because Homer doesn't get it at all and then leaves, which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, Lurleen is not even trying to hide it anymore, that she's got the hots. Like, there's that scene where they're all in the recording studio, like the entire Simpson family, and the song she's singing is like something about, it's the Homer, "I want to hit a Homer tonight," or something like that.
It's a baseball-themed love song about Homer.
Marge is in the room, like she is. It's like, I think Lurleen, she better watch herself. She's gonna find out that Marge Bouvier knows how to fucking throw hands. She is a very angry.
And Lurleen is bold, and she is out to wreck a home big time. But Homer has gotten Lurleen a spot on a television show, which is so great. Their Springfield version of Hee Haw, which is called Yahoo,
Man. Try to explain hee-haw to someone under the age of 30, they would think you're out of your mind.
Yeah, like
hee-haw is bonkers.
It's mostly comedy and music, hillbilly themed variety show.
So insane. Yeah, and they really nailed the cast. Like when they rattle up, there's a guy named Big Shirtless Ron, which I thought was a nice. But it was Grandpa Jones and so and so, and Roy Clark and so and so, and
yeah,
can't remember what the old lady's name was, but
yeah, they
she always had a price tag hanging from her hat.
This fake hee-haw is pretty great. Yeah. The Recovering Alcoholics Jug Band.
Yeah, that was also nice to. Oh, and another thing, the song she was singing too, that "Bunk with Me Tonight" song. It's like, yeah, lady, he's a married dude. She is within 3 paces of fucking spearing you right now.
Yeah, she will kill you.
No. Not gonna lie, Marlin. Been a long time since I've bunked with anyone. Been a hot minute.
You're not bunking these days?
Been bunking with myself for the better part of a year.
Well, so I was
self-bunk.
I was about to let you blame it on COVID, but then you let slip the time frame we're working with.
We can be honest with our beloved audience. Who can we be honest with?
I think we're all self-bunking these days. Yeah. You and I, anyway. This is a self-bunking podcast.
All self-bunkers. This is your safe space. If you want to self-bunk right now, go right ahead. I can't tell.
Yeah, have at it. We can't see you.
Do what you need to do. The world could end at any minute.
Yeah, we'll refrain because we're professionals, but
yes, yeah.
Just know that the moment that record button gets unclicked.
One more of these bush lights, it might be bunking time.
But 3 more bush lights, and there ain't no bunking for nobody.
Yeah, for possibly up to 3 days. That stamina back up.
Jesus Christ. So we're on is it Yahoo or Yeehaw? Yahoo is I think the name of the fake Yeehaw show. Lurleen invites Homer back into the green room and comes onto him real hard, like just throws herself at Homer. And Homer, he kind of flashes back through his romantic Rolodex at all the times he really would have killed for this to be happening, but comes across a good Marge memory and gets ripped back to reality and takes off. He bails and leaves Lurleen there. Not before, though, poking his head back in the green room and going, "Hey, be straight up. Would you have gone all the way with me?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah." And then he's even more bummed and leaves.
Yeah.
It's like, also, Homer, like, I am no great signal reader, but did you have to ask? I feel like you could have deduced. Anyway.
Yeah. She wasn't looking for a nice, tidy makeout session.
Right.
She is a 40-something single woman fucking slinging drinks in Spittle County. She's got needs.
Homer, so he bails and goes back to Marge, and they're watching Yahoo while he sheds all of his cowboy gear. And Lurleen is singing a song about Homer and what a good man he is, and Marge better know that she's pretty lucky, which is real weird. A, that you just wrote that song just now. And
she's prolific.
And B, that you're watching her sing it on the TV while you're. Yeah, that was a very odd ending. But the Simpsons are back together. Lurleen, I assume, goes on to be a big star.
Yeah.
Because Homer, that's all he was in it for. He was like, I just want people to hear what a good singer you are. Yeah. Like, that was, I kind of liked how Homer just stumbled ass backwards into this hot waitress country singer wanting him when he was just like, oh, I was just trying to help.
And somehow launches a country music sensation.
Yeah. But goddamn, that fucking hee-haw knockoff was real good. And I feel like they do show an example of what hee-haw sort of was, where it was right before Lurleen takes the stage, they show Marge watching it by herself before Homer walks in the door. And it's just like the 2 guys in their coveralls standing in a cornfield, and one just do a skit. Like one just tells a joke. Like I think it was something along the lines of, I caught my wife sleeping with somebody, and the other guy says, "Yeah, you bit her?" And then the guy one says, "Yeah, I bit him too." And then the studio audience laughs. It's like that's what Hee Haw was.
Yeah, and like a fence board swings and catches him in the nuts.
Yeah, that's right. The fence board swivels and hits him in the balls. Yeah. And then some really dolled up cowboy in a bolo tie and rhinestone jacket laughs, and then it's on to the next thing.
I think they were trying to go for a Porter Wagner type with that.
Yeah.
That guy kind of resembled a Porter Wagner.
It's hillbilly Monty Python, and it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. So we are up to episode 20.
Trucking along, last one.
Yeah, doing it. Black Widower. This episode starts off hot and spicy with the Simpsons throwing real shade at the ABC sitcom Dinosaurs.
Just throwing haymakers.
Oh, man, there was some salt on this episode. Holy moly.
Man, I was surprised.
We're lucky this didn't escalate to Biggie and Tupac levels.
Yeah, I'm shocked no one shot one of the dinosaurs over this.
I don't need Matt Groening getting shot in Vegas after a Tyson fight. He's got 47 more seasons to write.
Was the witness said it's a giant man in a rubber dinosaur outfit.
Yeah. And for those that are not middle-aged men that don't remember it was like a live action show, but everyone was in giant, very kind of almost realistic, like or well-made rubber dinosaur suits.
Yeah, not that much different than, say, the live-action Ninja Turtles movies. Suits.
Very good. Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't it was a network television sitcom.
Yeah. And it was just a show about a family, but told in prehistoric times. It was the Flintstones, except they were dinosaurs. And it was like a live, like real life
family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the dad was probably going off of like a honeymooners type thing, and the mom was the long-suffering, loving mom.
Yep, and he had the two kids. The boy was kind of a punk. Like I think he had like a dinosaur mohawk. And
that's the thing.
And maybe an eyebrow piercing.
I don't remember this show really aping The Simpsons much.
See,
because like the kids were teenagers. First off, the two oldest ones, and the most of the gags were with the baby. Like the physical humor was because the baby didn't like the dad,
right?
And like Maggie is silent, and like I just don't get where the beef came from because I never thought of these shows similar at all. It was way more formulaic. Dinosaurs was. It was more of a standard sitcom.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of satire.
Laugh tracks and shit. It wasn't. It wasn't satirical at all. It played it pretty straight.
It is a show that has a bonkers final episode.
Yeah, it does.
It sure does. That's out on the YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to see it, feel real uncomfortable because basically it's just them telling you, "Hey, shit for brains. If you don't change your ways, humans are going to end like the dinosaurs."
Yep, that is a rubber-clad dinosaur family waiting for the meteor. It's a hell of an ending. That I can't recommend enough. You have got to go watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And with a very they may as well talk straight down the barrel of the camera, and because they're talking about environmentalism.
Yeah.
But the Simpsons really come out strong against the dinosaurs. Oh shit! Which I mean, I guess if you just take it on, real broad shit of like blue collar working class dad, stay at home mom, two troublesome kids and a baby. I guess you could probably connect those dots. But for me, it's the substance that The Simpsons has that I don't think the Dinosaurs show did.
Yeah. Simpsons are playing chess. Dinosaurs are playing checkers.
Yes.
It's a whole other level.
It's a copy of a copy, if anything.
Yeah. To quote Trent Reznor.
Yes, it's a little faded. It's the third Michael Keaton in Multiplicity.
Yeah.
A little dim.
Shout out to Andy McDowell. If you're listening, we love your work in multiplicity. Please check us out, message us or email, like us on Twitter.
I love
Andy McDowell.
Multiplicity.
I've never seen it. I just know Andy McDowell's in it.
Such a good
because the
movie.
VHS box was everywhere in 1996.
Yep, you've seen that cover, a million times.
So after all the shade gets thrown at the dinosaurs, kind of the basis of the episode is Selma, who Patty laughs at for her silly idea of not wanting to die alone, is dabbling into the exciting world of prison pen pals. Just what you always want to hear your family's up to.
Yeah, what are you doing? Oh, I'm romantically involved in a pen pal relationship with an inmate.
And that inmate is none other than Sideshow Bob, Krusty the Clown's former sidekick, who tried to set up Krusty for robbing the Quickie Mart.
Yep.
And thanks to Bart, Sideshow Bob went to prison.
And that, I believe, was an episode, or a season 1 episode. So that
sounds right.
We've taken a long time to circle back on Sideshow Bob, which I like. I'm impressed.
And what I like too is as the relationship blossoms, you just see the different things that they do, and it makes Sideshow Bob tells the story at dinner of how Selma's love made him a better inmate, and he just became a model citizen in prison. And there's a scene where he's has a mop bucket outside of the conjugal visits trailers. Jesus, I never thought of that. Someone has to go in there Monday morning.
Yep.
But it looks like the basement, like the aliens' hive. Just the walls are now rounded. It's 20 degrees warmer in there.
Fog up your glasses.
There's a battle-hardened colonial marine with a rifle saying, "Don't touch nothing." Smells like salt water and ass sweat in here. Just flip that mattress over. It's good as new. Oh, boy.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a horrifying job to pull in prison.
There's a great line, again, as the relationship progresses. So they talk about how he proposed, and he uses the sentence, "Although kissing you would be like kissing some divine ashtray. That's not what I had in mind." Then he drops to one knee.
Yep, and proposes there at the dinner table. Man, do I love Sideshow Bob. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
Just
Kelsey Grammer's good at this, too.
Kelsey Grammer is killing it. That voice and the eloquence of one Sideshow Bob is so good.
And there's a wonderfully done montage of them falling in love, and it's they're singing to each other "Something Stupid" by Frank Sinatra, which A+ song.
Hell of
if you
a
ever
song.
want to fall down put that on YouTube and wait until you fall into a 3-hour Sinatra rabbit hole, because and go get yourself some scotch, sit there, and
You'll get lost in those blue eyes.
all of a sudden you're falling into a Mad Men type of world. It's can you still buy Chesterfield cigarettes?
You come
Next thing you know, you're cutting the catalytic converter off your car and going back to a simpler time. Where's the guy got to go to buy leaded gas?
You throw out all the margarine in the house. This is a butter house. You come to, where did I get this fedora? Where do they even sell a flat gray fedora?
Hair gel, where's the burl cream? Another great line, too. I think, is this maybe when they're on their honeymoon? When Selma asks, no, I don't think it's quite at the honeymoon point. When he's like, "Could you pumice my corns for me?"
He's massaging her feet. Yeah, and she asks her.
I can't wait until our relationship as podcast co-hosts reaches a point where we could pumice each other's corns. Because mine could use it, and I can't reach them so well.
Buddy, what are you doing to your feet? I'm only 5 years behind you in age. I ain't got a corn to be seen.
Yeah, sounds the boastful talk of a prideful 35-year-old. You wait till fucking 40 years old, hits you like a goddamn Mack truck. Wake up every morning happy it's just corns.
Okay.
The fucking agent in dog years after 35.
All right, shit. I'll keep my cornless feet praised to myself.
Yeah, oh, fucking Hollywood Wells and his cornless feet. doesn't have to get his sandals made out of Taylor. Look at this guy.
Apparently, I'm going to hit 40 and it's going to be like Iowa, just corn as far as the eye can see.
Elephant man feet. Like, how many toes do I have?
Oh my God.
This is far too many toes. There's a great scene too where Krusty the Clown is having a telethon for motion sickness.
Yep, that's his big cause, is motion sickness.
Yeah, and then we get that tearful reunion with Sideshow Bob.
Yep, which Krusty is at first kind of not into, but they hug and they make up. And there's a great Sideshow Mel moment where Mel is watching on the monitor backstage, and Krusty is praising Sideshow Bob and how much he misses him, and says something along the lines of, then that new assistant I got stuck with, and it just quick flash cuts to Sideshow Mel watching, and he just says, I can only be myself, and that's it. It cuts back to Krusty and Sideshow Bob.
Oh, but that's a great gag that happens to The Simpsons, is like someone's like true emotional feelings being played for laughs. Like a real genuine moment from Sideshow Mel, and it's a joke.
Yep. I can only be myself.
Just be who I am.
Yeah.
I love that we have a throwback to the Jerry Lewis Labor Day weekend telethon, because that's another one of those things. It's like once it's gone, it seems like it was 15 years old.
Yeah.
But that shit went till 2010. That's nuts. I thought it ended like in the mid-90s. Like, how old was Jerry Lewis? Because I'll tell you right now, that shit seemed very dated in the 80s. Because that was the best part. Like, it'd be like a newer musical act, and then it'd be fucking Shecky Green on stage doing a Harry Truman impersonation. Yep. It's like, what's going on right now?
Yeah, that thing. When Krusty first comes out, like his hair is kind of disheveled and his bow tie is loose, and he kind of looks like shit. And I was like, "What are they going? You know, what's the joke here?" And then it hit me. That's always how Jerry Lewis looked. Like not.
At like hour 71,
And by Sunday afternoon of that weekend, just looked like shit.
So now the marriage is about to happen. Marge is helping her plan the marriage. And there's like this joke, like, where Marge is asking Selma, like, about the wedding dress. It's like, well, what kind of wedding dress? Like, what would you... And she's like, it's a white wedding dress. I think that's supposed to imply that Selma's never been laid.
Right.
Is that what we're going for there? Some fucking old patriarchal horseshit.
Yeah, that was the joke of like, well, I mean, we could... Oh, no, a white one. It's like, okay, all right.
Like, who were the women back then? Oh, no, I'm taking tons of dick. Give me like a denim dress.
Is denim your had tons of dick color?
Yeah, like a denim pantsuit. That's what you wore as a bride if you're taking a bunch of dick.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what an antiquated, awful thing.
Yeah. Oh, for dumb. You could tell it's the early 90s because Marge has a video, like a camcorder that weighs a third of her body weight on her shoulder, which is something you and I can relate to. She sees Krusty the Clown, who's at the wedding to support Sideshow Bob, and he's like trying to eat or something like that. It's like, say something funny, Krusty, which that's what you always want to hear as a comedic performer. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Fuck off.
Say something funny. Fuck you.
There's nothing that makes comedy better than knowing it's coming. To remove all spontaneity from it.
Yeah, no, totally. Right here with no lights or microphone or audience or preparation or setup at all. Yeah.
As we sit in awkward silence for 45 seconds while I can think of something.
Yeah. No, it's good. I had that same reaction to that scene. I was like, Krusty, you poor bastard.
I feel you, buddy. Then they end up on the honeymoon. This is around the time Bart is starting to. Everyone else is bought in the Sideshow Bob as reformed act, but Bart is still, those detective gears are turning in his head. Yep. He's like, I still don't trust this guy.
And it coincides with, this is about the time Sideshow Bob's facade starts to crumble as well for us, the audience.
One thing we haven't discussed is their relationship was almost destroyed by her love of the show MacGyver and his distaste for it.
He can't stand it. He thinks it's, swill. It's, bullshit commoner sludge for the trough.
Yeah. So he devises a very sneaky plan to blow up Selma while she's watching MacGyver on their honeymoon, because their plan as a couple, they compromise that he would just leave. He'd go for a walk, he'd do something else. So he sets it up so once she lights one of her cigarettes, the whole goddamn hotel or condo is going to blow up.
Yeah. There's a moment before she goes to watch her MacGyver where they bang in the hotel suite, and then they show Sideshow Bob sprint to the bathroom and just furiously washing himself in the sink. Just handfuls of water all over his body, just scrubbing to get it off.
And she has a great line. One of my fillings fell out. Jesus. Sideshow Bob giving that good wood. That's a great line.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that, but yes, I also laughed at that. If you, man, how hard do you got to swing for the fences to knock a filling out?
Yeah, or you added some shoddy dental work. It's one of the two.
I like to believe it's the first. But yeah, he's in there standing over the sink, just furiously scrubbing himself like he can't get it off. Oh fuck. Man, yeah. I was dying.
But so Sideshow Bob goes for a little stroll, all the time thinking that she's going to explode and he's going to get his revenge by helping destroy the Simpson family in some small way. And true to form, it does explode. That whole hotel is demolished, or that whole room is demolished. He runs up there thinking it's going to be just, those charred remains of Selma Bouvier, but no, it's Bart Simpson.
Yep. He got there in time.
Yeah, and then Bart gives him the play-by-play on everything. There's a great scene where he figures it all out, and he explains it to Homer, but Homer's such a fucking idiot that none of it sinks, and then he goes to his mom, who immediately understands what he's trying to say.
And they get there and get her stopped in time before the room explodes.
There was something about how he was very angry with like a bellboy that their hotel room didn't have a fireplace. And it specifically had said in the brochure that it was a fireplace. It's like, why does he need a fireplace so bad? And then the gears started turning and Columbo Bart got to the bottom of the case.
Yep, put it all together. But the room explodes anyway because Chief Wiggum, to celebrate that they had prevented this death, they all light cigars and he throws his match in the room.
Yeah. And they're all having a fun time discussing it, and everything's safe. The Sideshow Bob's back in jail. And then Bart goes, now let's get out of this gas-filled hallway before we all suffocate. It's a great line. Jeez, I was just rolling. Like, this show is getting so good, dude. Like, it's like, man, like,
this shit is
now it's
primo.
Like I have to stop myself from just writing down all jokes, because this podcast would be 7 hours of us. Well, this was a good joke. That was a good gag. This was a good goof.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. If all you did, like, even if you think about if it were just sight gags, like the podcast would be. I get that our podcast is already real long, but it would be astronomical if we included everyone. Like, we included the names of the movie theaters, but that was because that was amazing. Like, it's hard to try to pick and choose what you will and won't talk about, because there is so much good stuff.
I didn't question it, but I now know this podcast was meant to be that you and I both chose the same two movie titles off that movie marquee.
Of the two that would tickle our fancy. Yeah. It was Ernest versus the Pope and The Smell in Room 19.
Well, there we go.
We did it.
That's it.
Another batch.
We are hustling towards the end of season 3.
Yeah, next week we will cross that threshold. We will do the last 3 episodes of 3 and the first 2 of 4.
I'm going to put a bow on that pig.
Yeah, so
Get looking real nice for you guys.
that'll be, for those of you doing homework along with us, episodes 21 through 23 of Season 3, and then episodes 1 and 2 of Season 4.
Look at that. It's happening.
Yeah, we're plowing through
the
it.
choice cuts.
Yeah, every episode is fantastic now.
A little ground chuck in that first season. Now we're getting to the not quite to the porterhouse cuts, but we're getting there.
Yeah, there was some real shady meats in that on that first platter.
Yeah, maybe that first day might have been. We weren't even getting beef. We were getting pork byproduct.
Yeah, there was some canning beef in that first one. Some mechanically separated beef.
Old milkers. These weren't prime yearlings.
No, not a lot of Grand Champion County Fair beeves in Season 1. But now we're in it.
We're doing
now
it.
We're feeling pretty good.
Oh, we are in the salad days of the 90s Simpsons episode.
Yeah, hell of a batch this time around. That baseball episode was so good.
Yep.
And
oh my goodness,
the Sideshow Bob episode. Yep. I dig it.
I enjoyed all of these.
And I like that we're getting, I feel like Season 1 and creeping into Season 2, not a lot of just straight up pop culture references. Like when they had Santa's little helper strapped down with his eyes pried open doing the Clockwork Orange bit. I feel like we didn't get a lot of that early on, but now it seems like everything is a reference to where it's like I got to be on when I'm watching these.
It's like they know that the show's a hit now, so they can just do whatever the fuck they want. That's makes for some quality watching.
Yeah, it does, and I am enjoying it, and we'll keep doing it.
Marlin, how do the people reach us? Everyone's talking about this podcast.
They can reach out and touch us at barleybasketUSA@gmail.com is the email address, or Twitter, which is probably the easier way to do it, which is at barleybasketUSA. On Twitter. Had a good back and forth with a listener just the other day who we were, I believe we were discussing your use of the word gush in that last episode, which was
very sensual.
Disturbing is the word I was going to use.
Some would say disturbing, some would say very sexy. I mean, it's potato.
Yeah, potato and gross potato.
Them's gushing words.
Don't keep saying it. All right, we're done.
So the key is you don't pronounce the SH.
Oh, Christ. Everyone enjoy your week.
I know I will.
Yeah, let the bunkin' start, buddy.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you then. How's that sound?
Next Tuesday and every Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.